Randy, you won a Stanley Cup. You've only missed the playoffs twice in your coaching career, but has this year caused you to question some of your tactics or?
It always does. It always does. If you think that you have all the answers, you're in the wrong business. There's things that you know that you'd like to do differently as a staff, as a person, as an individual. There's certain ways you deal with certain things. There's points that you felt you should have been a lot stronger on, or you should have been softer on. There's all those things. You're going to question yourself all the time.
Randy, you've had this group for roughly 150 games, I think. Does it deserve to stay together? Is there more in this group that deserves a chance to prove it?
Well, again, I think there's some youth in this group that we're bringing along, and those things are always part of the equation. We have two defensemen in Gardner and Morgan Riley. Now, are we going to say they don't belong? You know, Nazem Kadri's a 23-year-old center iceman that's got 50 points. Now, if you go through the stats in the league, see how many other 23-year-olds score 50 points in the league. But there are areas of Nazi's game that we've talked about. There are areas of Jake's game. So that's really hard for me to say that yes or no, one way or the other. There are parts of the group that you think are prepared to take the next step and become everyday solid NHL players. And what we're trying to focus on is the ones that we think that can have long careers and represent this hockey club the way we believe it should be represented.
What was the outcome of some of your meetings yesterday, and what are your own plans for the summer at this point?
The meetings yesterday's meetings were much different for me because the time that's been spent and the energy that's been spent through the last 30 days of reaching back and trying to generate some energy, try to generate some compassion, try to do things differently, try to motivate people to compete to a higher level. All those things wear you down. We play a lot of hockey, either play 4 games a week or 3 games a week, and we were no different. So yesterday was kind of the thing that you want to hear back from the players on how they felt, and nobody felt good about what has happened. But again, it's one of those things that you have to go through, and there's some surprising things that come back from players, something that you would never imagine, and there's some things that are pretty consistent.
Coach, what would you change about yourself if you come back with essentially this lineup next year in terms of how much of the blame you think you should have to assume too?
What would I change? I think I'd be hard and fast on some decisions early in the season and be committed to doing them. Such as, I don't really want to get into the such as. Maybe the color of the pasta at dinner. No, but I don't want to get into those things because those are things that are inside, and I think it's best suited that stays there. I just know there are things that I would do differently, and I would be hard and fast on a couple of the decisions.
Randy, you mentioned some of the surprises that came back to you yesterday. Can you share any insights with that might have been?
Just a defenseman. One example, a defenseman that's a young defenseman that's playing, a rover type of hockey early in the season versus more of a condensed style of hockey, a more conservative style at the end of the season. And then coming back and feeling that the leash that he was afforded in the beginning of the season wasn't as long as the one that was afforded at the end of the season. And the coach says, well, if you would have played longer, you would have had a longer leash. So it's like the chicken before the egg. But specifically that one player feeling that his leash was short, where we believed it was longer than that. It was just a kind of a surprise. And then the comparison of who he compared himself with in the league. That was kind of shocking.
What do you say to the fans of Leafs Nation across North America?
Well, I say again, that we thank them for their support. We know that passion in this market is at an all-time high in the league. We know we represent the City of Toronto and the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club. And for now, we don't have the ultimate answer to give you, and we're embarrassed by what just went down.